Hello everyone and welcome back to the F1 2019 Career Mode series here for episode 18 for the Mexican Grand Prix, and we've got three messages. We got weekend preview and then we've got department failures. Now I just want to quickly check what one's actually failed there, because one's been completed, one's failed, so at least something's been completed. So look, so we go here, and it's the major one, of course it is, so that's really not good. That means we're going to have to bring this to next weekend instead, which is really disappointing, but oh well. And then where that puts to the progress history is not really much of a difference, because other people have made improvements. We've made a teeny improvement to that one minor upgrade, so yeah, it's not really changed too much, except for Renault made a big leap forward over the last few weeks to be just behind us now. But and the weather forecast, we got heavy rain at the start of qualifying, so it'll pretty much be heavy rain for Q1, maybe light rain at the end of Q1, and then Q2 would be light rain going into dry, and then Q3 would be fully dry. I think that's basically what I said. The race is obviously just like cloud for the whole thing, so that's fine. And there's one more thing that I've been meaning to do for a while, but I keep on forgetting, is select another rival, because obviously we beat Perez, so we need to choose another rival. We have a whole host of people to choose, so I'm going to go back to where we started. We're going to go back to where we started. We're going to choose Alex Albon as our teammate, because we're getting closer and closer to that Red Bull car, and I reckon that he should be good to choose as a rival for the rest of the season, which is what it probably would be. So select Alex Albon as the rival, give us a decent amount of respect as well, nearly as much as a teammate, so that is good there, because he beat me in the rivalry that we had last time. So, but I reckon that obviously our cars are much nearer this time, so we should have a much better chance of beating him. Obviously we've got a new engine component coming into this race, a new MGU-H. Hopefully we don't have to take any more grid penalties, but other than that, I will see you all in qualifying. Here we are in qualifying, so I've already set one lap, but it's good enough for P16, which isn't very good, and the track really doesn't feel good at all in the wet, and I'm actually not very confident at all going into this session. We go really early on the brakes, just trying to get a really nice run out of here, but there's just not too much grip around. We've actually been very solid through the first part of this lap, as we are going to go green down this straight, but it's very, very tricky to judge your braking zone, as we've got a little bit wide there, but it's not too bad really. Now going here, we actually want a little bit of a wider line in the wet to focus on a better exit, which is exactly what we're trying to do, but the rear end's just sliding, even though so far we are actually setting quite a solid lap, as this is the hard part here, because in the dry there's not much grip, but in the wet there's absolutely nothing underneath you here, so sliding about. We took that solidly, as we are over 2 temps up. We just need to close this lap out, and hopefully that'll be enough to see us through, but we'll see. As we go a bit too late on the brakes there, that's lost us a bit of time, and then we go a bit late on the brakes again, and we get a bit early on the accelerator there. It's not been a good final sector at all, as we then go really wide through the final corner to make it even worse, as this isn't going to be as good enough improvement here. I don't think we're going to get out, and no, we're not. I don't think. Did that say P19? Yeah, it did. P19. We're not out of qualifying. We're actually right at the back of the grid. That is really disappointing, but this track felt horrible to drive on in the wet. I don't even think my teammate got through, did he? Oh no, he did, but I'll see him in the race nonetheless.
Formula One may have been absent from Mexico for 23 years, but after 2015's triumphant return, it was as if we'd never been away. In Mexico, a Grand Prix is more than just a race. It's a celebration of speed and of bravery. There's nothing quite like the atmosphere in the stadium today. They'll be drowning out the cars with their noise as they make their way through on lap 1. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Why don't we discuss McLaren? They've had just one retirement in the last 5 races. What do you think that says about the reliability of their car?
I think they can be fairly pleased with that record so far. The first thing any good car needs is a solid, reliable base with which to build on, and they seem to have that this season.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Alexander Albon and Norris, Magnussen, Sainz, Giovinazzi and Sergio Perez. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Lance Stroll and Russell. Verstappen, Kubica, Iceman and Roman Grosjean. Kvyat and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot today. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Right, here we go then, strategy time. Standard amount of fuel. They're telling me they go for the 2-stop strategy, but I think the 1-stop strategy probably is going to be effective because obviously I get a free choice of tyres, so I can probably go mediums to hard. So I'm pit on about lap 14, I think. And yeah, I think the strategy would be quicker than the 2-stops. So let's go. Here we go. 3, 4, 5 lights in front of us here for the Mexican Grand Prix. We're underway. And it's going to be a slow getaway from us because we are on the slower tyres. I'm not too bothered if I lose any positions, but we haven't actually lost any positions. Kubica is an absolute flyer. Who would have thought it? He's actually jumped Verstappen as we're going to try and go down the inside of Verstappen as well here. We go fairly late on the brakes, but not late enough to put ourselves in harm's way here, as now we should have the move on Verstappen, as we do have the move on Verstappen. And we're up one position through the first sector. Now coming down the straight, we could go up the inside of Russell, but we decide just to sit behind him and now stay here and chill. As the two Williams actually do make contact here, so Verstappen's absolutely flown up our inside as if we weren't even there, and now as a result we're in a complete sandwich here. We do hit Kubica, but it didn't lead to any wing damage. We're okay. Now on to the end of lap 2 then. I'm in P16, Kubica in front, Verstappen behind, and well, we're not really gaining on Kubica, but he is on the quicker tyres, even though that Williams car is a disgrace, but it's okay. On to lap 3 then, down the same straight I left you on. As you can see, we're a little bit green in this sector, as we might be able to get a good run on Kubica here if we can get good traction. We go for the switchback, we do get good traction actually, and now down the inside we've got a bit of understeer though, that because of that we've just pushed Kubica out the way. Bit mean, but we just got understeer. We couldn't really do anything there. The cars didn't turn. On to lap 5, and we might want to get the other Williams here. We've got a good run going out of the S's and then round the outside, just about keeping on the track. And that is P5 for us here with Stroll in front of us, and that's going to be a much harder overtake than the two Williams. So we might just have to sit behind him and wait for him to pit in probably a few laps time. And here we go, all the way on to lap 11 then. As you can see, Stroll pitted, Raikkonen is now into the pit, so everyone's pitting. And now we're pitting in 2 laps, that means, which obviously makes sense. We pit on lap 14, it will be on the hard, so yeah, it's not too bad really. We're now in P9, so, and that is actually track position as well, because they have to pit once more, and so do I, so I actually am in P9, which is good. But yeah, we'll just sit here for a while longer. And here we go then through the final corner again. This time Norris is going to come into the pits along with Stroll. Sorry, I got it wrong. Stroll actually overtook some people, so. And we're actually going to jump both the Ferraris as well. And now into the pits then, so both the Ferraris obviously go back through. And yeah, we're just going to. That's a phenomenal stop. 1.88. That's probably quicker than the world record pit stop in real life from the Red Bull guys, which I think is a 1.9 or something like that, so that is very, very good. So we've come out back in P15, which is where we were, but we've lost a lot of time because obviously they were on brand new softs, we are on worn mediums. There's no real surprise there, as we're now on fresh hards, and hopefully we can just drive around as quick as we can while looking after the tyres and hold track position and get a good result. So on to lap 17 then, and as you can see we've set a green lap, so these tyres are now starting to feel a bit more alive. They felt a bit meh for the last few laps, but now they're starting to feel much better because these tyres need a few laps to get up to temperature before they feel much better, but we're fine for now. Now advancing 4 laps later onto lap 22, and everyone's coming in for their second stop. We actually started to gain on Raikkonen quite a bit because he was in traffic, so we're on lap 23 now, and we're in P10 now, so with people in front of us to pit, we are now in the points, which is never a bad thing, I guess. Now on to lap 25, so everyone's coming to the pits. We've come out P5, we've got Perez a few seconds behind us, and probably will catch us, to be fair. We just got to hope that he's not too quick running behind us, and it's just going to be a sprint to the finish, really. These tyres aren't too bad for wear. They'll definitely last to the end, but hopefully I can only lose one position if I'm going to lose any positions, and finish P5 or P6, and that would be ideal, really. Seems we started 17th because obviously we had a crap quali. And on to lap 27, there's a VSC, a virtual safety car. I think that was Kubica retired, which is going to do us a favour. We can save some ERS off of it. Now on to lap 29. We have got Perez really close to us now, actually. We need to be careful of that. Now, 1 lap later, we have Perez gaining on us down the straight. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep him behind us. We're in overtake. We're in rich pit. This is such a long straight, and he is past us, and we might be able to get him back down the other straight if we can get a good run, which we might actually get here. Here we go, down through here, and no, he's just got phenomenal traction. The AI traction around this track is ridiculously good, and it's really hard to overtake them because of that. Now on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. We have got Verstappen not that far behind us, but I think he's too far back, so we should be able to keep P6. It's about 1.8 seconds back, I think. Lewis Hamilton has won the Grand Prix. Verstappen was too far back. We're absolutely fine. 1.2 seconds. We've gained a bit on us this lap. Sebastian Vettel sets the fastest lap of the race. But we are very, very happy with P6, really. It's been a good strategy. The strategy really, really works out. I was hoping that it would. I thought it would, because mediums to hards normally does work. But there we go, P6 from P17. No complaints there.
Well done. That was a fantastic drive.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to Iceman. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
It's another clear win for Mercedes as they managed to secure the Constructors' title. An incredible performance for the whole team. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So there we go then. That was the Mexican Grand Prix done. That strategy, I did not expect it to be that effective, but it absolutely destroyed the one stop there. So I'm very, very surprised by that, because we completed another team goal with the complete 8 practice program, I think it was. We now have 1,900 resource points, which is amazing. So first things first, undoubtedly redo this major upgrade, and then, well, I'm gonna probably, I don't know, there's a few things that I can do from here, because if I do this minor upgrade, then that leads me to a major, which then leads into an ultimate, which would probably already come all the way into next season in a way. But then the same thing happens here, a minor into a major into an ultimate, and like they're both just the same as each other really. So I'm probably going to do a chassis one. I'll probably do I'm going to do this one here, because then it leads to more better upgrades. So I'll do this, and then I'm just going to spend the rest to do my the adapt parts thing. So do all the aero parts, and then that leaves me with barely any resource points. So now I have to do, because I'm just trying to keep track of it, so I've got to do 1, and I've got to do 2, 3, 4. So I have to do 4 adaptations. Yeah, I have to adapt 4 parts then after this, which is good, because I can probably do it with relative ease. And yeah, that should be all for the video. If you guys have enjoyed this episode of the Crewman series, please remember to like the video, subscribe for more content like this in the future if you obviously haven't done so already, and make sure to check out previous videos in the series if you have missed them. And I will see you next time out in, give me a second, USA, Austin. So see you then.